Welcome to Button Maker, How to Make a Button for Beginners, presented by the Mount Royal University Library Maker Studio. In this video, you will learn how to use the button making machines in the Maker Studio to create your own buttons. For more project ideas, resources, and information, you can go to the Maker Studio website, which is found on the Mount Royal University Library website under Spaces.
In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that the Mount Royal University is situated on the traditional territories of the Blackfoot Confederacy, including the Siksika, Kainai, Piikani, and the Tsuut'ina and the Stoney Nakoda nations, as well as the Métis Nation Region 3, and all people who make their homes in the Treaty 7 region of southern Alberta.
In the Maker Studio, we have three different sizes of button makers. We have 3-inch, 1-inch, and 1.75-inch. If you need help creating the graphic for your button, you can watch the video Graphic Design, Designing a Button, available on the Maker Studio website. Let's get started making a 1-inch button. Here you can see the 1-inch button machine with a cutter. To make our buttons, we'll need a button back, a ring, the pin, and the mylar, and your graphic. Put the graphic into the cutter and center it. And when it's centered, push down on the lever and put it back to its original position. Take out your graphic and any paper left in the cutter. Now when you take a look at the button maker, you can see that there are two separate kinds of places to put it in. One is more shallow than the other. You're going to put everything first into the shallow one. So grab your button backing, make sure it looks like an upside down bowl, put that in. Then your graphic. You want your graphic to look straight when you're looking at it. Then the mylar on top of that. Turn it around so that it's underneath the clamp and pull down the lever. Now you can see that your button is inside the clamp. Next, take the ring, make sure that it's bowl-shaped, and place it into the deeper of the two parts of the button maker. And then you take the pin. The pin has a little stick. You want it to be facing up. You want it to be sticking up. You place it inside the ring and make sure that the actual pin is horizontal. Turn it around underneath the clamp, pull down the lever, and now you have your 1-inch button. You can also make 1-inch buttons with accessories instead of a pin. You make them the same way that you do when you're making the button with a pin, except you leave out the pin. So I'm clamping the button here, and then instead of putting the pin in, I just put in the ring. So you can see the ring's in there, no pin. Pull down the lever, and now you have a button with no pin. So you can add on a different accessory. So with this one, we have these little black plastic pieces that can be attached. You can attach a keychain or a ring to, just like this. We also have magnets available. You just peel off the sticker and then place the magnet right into the back of the button. Let's start making a 1.75-inch button. Here we have a 1.75-inch button making machine and cutter. For this one, we'll need some mylar, the pin holding part of the button, the button backing, and your graphic. So to start off, we'll put the graphic into the cutter and we'll center it and push down on the lever. It's important that the lever goes back to its original position. If it's too high, you won't be able to remove your graphic. Take the extra paper out and remove your graphic. In the button making machine, there are two sections, and one is more shallow than the other. We're going to start with the more shallow section. First, we put in the button back. It needs to look like an upside down bowl. Then we put on our graphic, and we make sure our graphic is lined up and aligned with us looking at it. Then we put on the Mylar. We flip around the section underneath the clamp and pull down the lever, and now you can see that it's inside the clamp. Next, we put on the part with the pin. It's important to have the pin underneath and the S part facing up. It needs to be horizontal near the top. You flip it around, push down the clamp, and your button is made. At the Maker Studio, you can add a keychain to your 1.75-inch button. Here's the keychain part that's available at the Maker Studio. So the difference is you make the button the same way, but instead of using the piece in the back that has a pin, you're actually going to use this piece, which is flat, and it has a little hole near the top of it. So you'll be making your button the same way, using the shallow part of the button maker. You put in the button back like an upside down bowl, then your graphic, lined up, then your Mylar, flip it over, pull down the lever, and then instead of the part that has the pin, you put in the part with the hole in the top. You make sure that it looks like a bowl. Flip it around, put it back into the clamp, and now you can see that the button is finished and there's a hole in the top for the keychain, which fits right in to there. Now I'll show you how to make a 3-inch button. We don't have a cutting tool for the 3-inch button maker, but the Maker Studio has many different cutting tools that you can use, including scissors. You make your 3-inch buttons the exact same way you make the 1.75-inch buttons. You have your button backing, your graphic, your Mylar, and the piece that has the pin attached to it. So you can see there are the two parts of the button maker, and one is more shallow, and that's the one you start with. You put your button backing in. It looks like an upside down bowl when you put it in. Upside down. Then you put on your graphic, and you make sure your graphic is lined up. Then the Mylar. Flip it around, pull down the lever. You can see it's stuck up inside. Then you use the part with the pin. You want the part that looks like an S to be facing up, and you want it to be horizontal and at the top part of the button. Flip it around, pull the lever, and there's your 3-inch button.